Hey, babe, welcome back to another episode of the Money Mindset and Manicures podcast. This episode is for you. If you are either an entrepreneur or you maybe don't identify as an entrepreneur yet, but you have a desire to start your own business. Maybe you've been dabbling in a side hustle that you're like, you know what? I really know and think and want to monetize this, but I just don't know how. Or if you have been on this trajectory of starting a business and maybe you're feeling a little stuck or you don't see the success coming as fast as you want. Today, I'm going to be sharing different tips with you and things that I did throughout my 10 years of being a business owner with many, many pivots throughout that decade to share with you things that you can do, things that you can kind of look at, especially in this day and age where so much has changed. And I want to share those tips with you because I get a lot of questions about this, especially in my Manuscripting Sisterhood community, where of course that is a community of women that's wanting to change their life, that wants to attract more, that wants to manifest more. So of course I attract a lot of entrepreneurs into that space. So I have a lot of questions here that I've pulled from that community in order to answer them. The first thing first with entrepreneurship, and one thing that I do want to share, and I feel like I say this and I want to keep honing it into your mind, is that success with your own business takes time. We live in this day and age where on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, people show their success of starting, growing, and scaling their small businesses very quickly. And there are far and few between that do have massive success very, very fast. But majority of businesses, they take a lot of time to grow and to scale. So if you don't see success within the first couple months of starting your business, that is so freaking normal. And I want you to start normalizing this slow growth and success. Because think about it, when you start your business, especially if this is your first one, you are obviously brand new to business ownership. You're probably new to entrepreneurship in general. And there are so many things that you need to learn along the way. And I am grateful, especially when I started the Manuscripting journal. I am so grateful that in our first year of business, we didn't even hit six figures. Nope. I don't know if I've shared that before, but we didn't even hit six figures in revenue in our first year. And I am so freaking grateful for that because throughout that first year, there was so many things that I had to learn as a business owner in order to help support this company. This is my first e-commerce company. I've had plenty of online companies and digital companies that didn't require shipping or physical products or anything like that. So there was so much that I had to learn from just that side of the business of being a physical product to handling customer service, which is much different when in comparison to when I was in the coaching industry, right? You have different types of customer service. It's almost like in the coaching industry, the customer service part almost just kind of like doesn't exist because you're not dealing with like one-off customers. Most people that you work with, you're working with them for a long period of time. There were so many things that I had to learn to then be able to support more sales, more customers, a bigger community coming into the business. For example, if I had made $1 million in revenue in that first year, first of all, holy crap. If that would have happened, I would have had to grow very quickly as a person, as a business owner, as a CEO, as a leader of this community. But at the same time, it would have been like, I can't even imagine, because even what I went through in that first year, and even now we're going into our third year of just really or our fourth year, so to speak, just really learning and doing all of these things, it would have been, I think my head would have exploded, to be honest. Because what I learned in my first year of business was the foundation in order to grow and scale this business as a whole. And I know a lot of you start your side hustle or you start your business because of income, right? Like you need that extra money. Maybe you don't have a job and this is your only source of income, or maybe you have a job already and this is your side hustle, your side income that you ultimately want to replace your job. So there's this hustle and there's this like fast-paced environment where you're like, oh my gosh, I just need this business to work over here. I need it to make money so I can leave that job or so I can pay my bills. And there is that hustle mentality towards it. But I just want to share with you, slow growth is really, really good. And I don't want you to get caught up in this comparison game of seeing someone else's success on social media and comparing it to yourself. And then you look at yourself that you're doing something wrong, that you're not going to be successful, that this is a waste of time, that, all of those things. No, I want you to lean more into your growth and your learning and really think about what that CEO of your company that you are right now growing, that you are stepping into the CEO role, like truly treat it like you are the owner of this company. You are the CEO. What that CEO has to learn in order to get to that level so that you can fill that gap between where you are right now to where you want to be. I know a lot of you want to just hit the ground running. And I know there are so many people out there that, say, oh, well, I made 6 figures in my first month of business, or even 10K months in my first month of business. But honestly, I would love to talk to every single one of those people and ask them, what was their business before this one? Because I guarantee you, for a lot of people that have this really fast success, it's not because it's their first business. It's because they've launched and done different businesses before. And then finally, this was the one that hits. Let's dive into a couple of the things that I would kind of do right off the bat. Now, the first things first is, okay, you've already decided that you want to start this business, that you are growing this business, no matter what phase you are, you're in the beginner phases. You need to make this commitment to this business. And I want you to understand and know it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Still, for me, every single day, there is hard shit in my business. There are so many days that I cry, that I want to quit, that I want to give up. There's also a million days that I want to, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I can't wait for further things to come. It's an emotional roller coaster. And you have to be prepared for it. Because if you are looking for the easy road, go get a job. Go get a job and work for somebody else. Because being an entrepreneur and a business owner is not easy. But it is so freaking rewarding when you are the heart, sweat, and tears into building something that ultimately, I'm sure most of you listening, it's going to help somebody else, right? It's a problem solver for someone else, or maybe it's going to bring joy to somebody else, right? So just knowing what you are building is going to either change the world, it's going to change a few people's lives, whatever that looks like, it is worth it. As long as you understand going into this, it's not going to be easy. You're already one step ahead of the game. And this isn't to scare anyone off, but this is reality because I don't think most people talk about this side of entrepreneurship. We see all the glitz, the glam, the ease, all of this sort of stuff. And yes, it gets to be easy, but also reality check. The reason it is hard is because we have to learn certain things. We have to learn different lessons. We have to experience different things in order to grow ourselves as business owners, so that when those things happen at a larger level, whether you have more clients, more customers, more things out there, you will know how to handle it. Because right now, you're probably not equipped to handle all the things that you could possibly think of that would come at you during business and growing your business and all of that, right? The next one is to really take a look at this business that you have and create some sort of plan for it. How do you ultimately want it to grow and look? And this isn't about drawing out some really high definition business plan with every single detail. You won't maybe know all of the details yet, but just as far as, okay, I'm going to launch X, Y, and Z business. I envision myself having X amount of clients or customers or serving X amount of people per week, per month, per quarter. What does that look like? You can even tap into how much money you want this to make. I think the easiest way to kind of reinvent this plan is to be like, okay, well, if you do ultimately want to be making 10K months, okay, well, how many products or how many pieces of that thing that you offer, how many clients do you have to have? How many of that do you have to have every single month in order to hit that goal? And just re-engineer the process backwards. That's a good one too. But really understand what you can hold space for right now as you are growing the business. For example, if you are working 40 hours a week and you can only work a couple hours a day on your side hustle, well, obviously you can't call in 50 clients because there's no way that you can be working with 50 clients if you have 2 hours a day. It's impossible. Impossible, right? Instead, can you start with one client a week? Can you handle one client and work with that? When it comes to different product sales and stuff like that, how many products do you have money for that you can buy inventory for in order to be able to sell them? When it comes to e-commerce, a lot of companies, when they're like there's a lot of money that you need to put up in order to get started, especially if you are manufacturing something yourself. And even if you are selling other items, most of them do come from overseas. So that takes time, that takes money. Really just figuring out this overall business plan and how much money it's going to take for you to do this. And also, do you see proof of it being a success elsewhere? That's really easy to see. Just log on to social media, right? And you'll see proof of that. So really kind of getting a good idea of what you want it to look like. You don't have to know every single step, but from here, you need to decide whether are you a 100% go-getter? Maybe you have a little bit of a drive and like almost like that ego factor, like, yes, I can do this. Yes, I got that. Can you build this business on your own, or do you need help and support? And I think for me, that was one of my biggest pivotal moments in my business as a very early entrepreneur when I was still in my 20s, when I hired my first business coach, because for many years, I thought I could figure it out. I was studying entrepreneurs from the outside. I was studying what they were doing. Okay, well, I see that they're giving out freebies and they're sending out emails and they're building a community and all this stuff. I watched them from the outside and I studied them. But I had no idea what was going on the back end. I had no idea, like they were setting up these email flows and had advertising and doing all these different things, right? What I was seeing from just observing, I didn't see the full picture. And that really hurt my growth because I was like doing those things and I was just like, well, why am I not growing? I didn't have systems in place on the back end. It's the stuff that you don't see. I didn't see, how they were learning, how they had mentors, all of that kind of stuff. But when I hired a business coach, I learned how to put different systems in place. I learned how to do X, Y, and Z. And then even from going from the digital space into the e-commerce space, for me, I am very much a self-taught, like I love teaching myself and learning. And now I can just literally go to YouTube. I listen to podcasts. I go to masterminds. I go to conferences to learn all about stuff to do with e-commerce and setting up different systems. A lot of it came from me already knowing the online space. That's like literally like 80% of the business because we do all online marketing. But just learning all the other things, it was super easy for me to learn because I either talked to people that did it, got recommendations. We hired different agencies and stuff like that to put different systems in place. And I was like, I got the whole picture very easily. So my point here is, do you need a coach? Do you need to go through a program? Or can you do this on your own? And you already know which one you want or which one you are, like which one are you? And I highly recommend if you are the one that needs a coach or a mentor or someone to teach you the ropes of how to even set things up, seriously do it. Find the person, like don't just go out and spend $1 million with anyone just because they shared that they did a 10K month. No, find the person that you relate with. You like their vibe, you like their community, you like what they're putting out, you're in agreement with different things that they post and stuff like that. Really vibe it out. A mentor, like you should be almost going through like a kind of a dating process. They don't know that you're dating them, but like really like feel out different coaches that you see out there and which one do you vibe with? Which one are you like, oh my gosh, that's the person that I want to learn from. I see what they're doing. That's what I want. And then go invest in that. I think the first place to start with investing into your business is invest in your learning and your teaching. Because if you're already just kind of getting started very slowly and maybe things aren't working out, they're not going as good as they could be, well, it could just be that you're missing this one little small connection point of a system that could literally change your entire business. So I really do believe investing in yourself as far as getting a coach or investing in a course, which is buying a course. I mean, there's so many courses out there on e-commerce. You got to just find the right one. And some of them are really cheap. You don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a coach, but just find the one that you vibe with and dive into it and ask them lots of questions beforehand, right? And make sure that whoever they've worked with in the past, like their testimonials are real, and do your due diligence is what I'm trying to say. But I would definitely start there. And then other things that you can start doing in the meantime is now that you have established yourself, I'm starting the business. This is what I want it to look like. This is what I want it to feel like. I am investing in a coach to help support me in this. Just start by posting about it. Honestly, start creating all your content about whatever it is that you are trying to sell, the people that you want to attract into it. You guys, ChatGPT is such a great tool for this. You never have to worry about being stuck with, I don't know what to post. Go to ChatGPT, go type in the question. Please create 10 different Instagram posts that I could put up to do with X, Y, and Z. Put in your niche, things that you want to teach, things that you want to sell, any of that sort of stuff. And it's going to spit out a bunch of different ideas for you. And you can even get more specific. Like then after those 10 things, be like, write out 10 like specific reels to create for this. And you could just keep going. You don't have to come up with a lot of things on your own. And I know this is stuff that you would even come up with, but we just get so in our heads with trying to figure out what it is that we need to create and do in order to get people. I think where people become the most stuck is just being paralyzed in the thought of, oh my gosh, I need to start posting about this, or I need to put myself out there and I just don't know how, or I am afraid, or I think people will make fun of me. Like, fuck it. Like, who cares? You're the one that wants to start this business. You know, you want to make that extra money. You know, you want to help other people, right? So who cares? And if you have a really hard time posting on Instagram, block all the people that you don't want seeing your stuff. Like, do whatever it takes. But here's what I will say is, and again, like I've seen so much of this on Instagram lately with like, here are X amount of ways to get more views and likes and followers. And this is how you grow and scale through reels or whatever. And a lot of these things do work, but they're not going to work every single time. And I think when we start posting things and we don't get the reaction that we want, we kind of stop posting. There are posts on my feed right now. Some of them will get 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views. Others will get 300. Like, I stopped caring about that stuff a long time ago because I know that's just the Instagram or TikTok game. Like, I just stopped caring. I just keep posting because I know, okay, I know one of these posts is going to land. You are literally one reel, one TikTok away from scaling and growing your business. I promise you, it's a numbers game. And that's why you don't need to spend too much time on content. Like seriously, don't spend more than 5-10 minutes on creating a reel. Don't do it. Because the ones for me that have gone the most viral, I was like, I literally just like pulled this out of my butt. Like it was just like the quickest stuff that I've come up with. And it just happened to go viral. So I'm like, I'm no longer spending a ton of time creating reels because it doesn't matter. Make them good, make them impactful, whether it's educational, value, whatever, funny, however you want, but just start doing it. It is in that consistency that it will grow for you. Even with the manuscripting journal on TikTok, when we first started, I was posting every single day. And then all of a sudden, one of my reels went super, super viral. And I just kept on doubling down and doubling down and doubling down. And like within like a couple months, I had over 70,000 followers on that account. It was crazy. And what was cool about TikTok, and what I still believe to be true to this day, is Instagram is a lot harder to grow on. Heck, I'm in it right now with my personal account because it's over a year ago at this point. I started a new Instagram account. I went from having like 50, 60,000 followers on my old account. I started a new one from 0. And it is like painful growth on there. But what I found is being on TikTok and posting to TikTok and having a better chance of going viral on TikTok first, you can connect your Instagram to your TikTok. And I promise you, those that will kind of like your content on TikTok, they're going to want to find you somewhere else, which is Instagram. Because for me, I don't tend to like follow or look at the people that I follow's TikToks on TikTok, right? I go to the main feed, but the ones that I come across on TikTok that I'm like, oh, I really like this girl, or oh, I really like this podcast, or oh, I really like this product. I'm going to go to their Instagram and follow them on Instagram, because on Instagram, I tend to go tap into the people that I'm following and see what's going on there. If you're having a hard time growing on Instagram, switch over to TikTok. And then from TikTok, you can download your reels or your TikToks, I guess. There's plenty of programs. Just literally search TikTok video downloader without watermark. There's an app for it too. I think it's called TikTok Saves or something like that. But you can literally just download the video from TikTok, repost it on Instagram Reels. Just find the same audio on Instagram Reels. Don't use the audio from the video. Try and find it whenever you can. Sometimes you can't, but sometimes you can. And just repost it. And now you're growing 2 accounts at the same time. Yes, it takes a little bit of extra work, but I feel like for most people, you're going to see more success on TikTok first over Instagram. And that's the way that I would kind of do it if you're feeling stunted growth. But at the end of the day, when you're first getting started, no matter what platform you're on, it is that consistent posting every single day. If you're the type of person that's literally going to post once a week, you're not going to see success. You won't, especially when you're first getting started. I do recommend it's not posting every single day. There's no such thing as too many posts, in my opinion. Like you just have to do it on a daily basis, with posting it to your feed, going into stories, showing your face, all that sort of stuff. Like highly, highly, highly recommend doing that. The next question that I kind of had multiple questions on was just like with even just getting a business set up legally or being a sole proprietor, like what should it be? I think, and what I believe is, when you're starting a new business, right? Like, is this a true hobby that you're just going to fuck around with, or are you going to take it seriously? If you are going to take it seriously, and if you're looking to generate money from it, treat it like a company. If you have this, and I posted about this the other week on my personal account, like this big business energy. If you go into this then with the mentality of, this is a small business, this is my side hustle, like, cool, okay, like I get it, good for you. This is a lot of verbiage that's being used out there. But if you keep talking about your business in that capacity, guess what you're going to have? It's going to be a side hustle forever. It's going to be a small business forever. Let's create some big business energy. Are you serious about it? Go create that LLC. Super easy to do online. I do highly recommend at one point, whether it's when you're starting out, it totally depends. When you're starting out, or at least search through the database. And as soon as you are like 100% secured on your company business name, if it is something outside of your own, depending, but I do recommend go trademark the name, because, or even go, and what I'm saying is go trademark, go search the trademark database, which is literally uspto.com. If you go there, search trademarks, and make sure that whatever the company name is that you are starting for your company isn't already taken by somebody else. I have had many friends in this space, being in business owners, that didn't do this. And they were like 2, 3, once they finally got their names on the map. And this actually happened to me when when I was in the fitness industry. I had a name for my business. I'm not even going to say it now because I don't want to give the other company any cred right now at all. But I had a name that I went by all the time for everything. It was the name of my fitness programs. I had an Instagram account around this, and I had that for a really long time. And then I went to create a fitness app, and literally within 2 days of launching in the Apple app space, I got a cease and desist letter because of my name, that I was infringing on a trademark. And I had seen that this company literally maybe filed a trademark a year ago. And I had my company for like multiple years. I just never trademarked it. And I regret not doing that. But I was so young. I was in my 20s. I didn't have anyone tell me about this, but it sucked. I had to completely like rename my entire company. It put a really bad taste in my mouth. I ended up, I think, shutting down the app really, really soon after that. I was so over it. I was just like, so frustrated with the whole process. And I think I ended up pivoting slowly after that. But my point here is you want to make sure that you're not infringing on someone else's trademark, because right now, even though you're just getting started, you're not on the map yet. But say you go viral, say you start, really growing and building, and you get the attention of that company. And all of a sudden they come after you with a cease and desist letter. And usually at first, they're nice about it. They're like, hey, change your name. You're infringing on our thing. And then if you're not, or it's something really bad, they can take you to court and they can sue you and they will win. Most cases, your name, like my name is Samantha Kazuch. If someone went out and started a Samantha Kazuch company, I don't own my name. You don't even have rights to your own name. You could actually, I have no right to be able to sue them for infringing on my name. Trademarking is really important. It's the one thing that we did with manuscripting immediately, because I created that word. And we do track and keep tabs of usage on the online space all the time. If you do create a word for your company and you're sticking to it, go fucking trademark it. Okay, babe, I know you're listening to this podcast because I know that you have a desire to change your life and accomplish big goals, right? But I also know that something has been holding you back on going after those big goals. Or maybe it's that you self-sabotage, or maybe you've set these big goals and you get really overwhelmed and you just don't go after them altogether. Well, I want to introduce you to a journal that is literally going to help you change your life and help you actually manifest and accomplish any desires or goals that you have. It's called the Manuscripting Journal, and it's the #1 selling manifestation and goal setting journal designed exclusively for empowering women just like you to up-level and change your life. Now, if you haven't seen this journal on social media already, I want to share with you that it is literally your personal guide to manifesting your dreams and unlocking your true potential. And inside its beautifully curated pages, you'll discover powerful daily journaling pages, workbooks, and exercises to help you set goals, help you plan your dreams, and manifest the life that you deserve. Plus, the one thing that I had to include, and it was a non-negotiable with this journal, is that it needed to have a community. So you'll also have access to join an online community filled with thousands of women just like you who are on the same path using the journal. So I invite you to join me and these thousands of women who have already embraced the power of manifestation and changed their life using the Manuscripting Journal. And I also want to gift you with a special 15% off code on your first journal order by using the code Money Mindset. The code is Money Mindset. So head over to manuscripting.com today and embark on a transformative journey by ordering the journal. So go ahead, check out the show notes, empower yourself. Answer the call to getting this journal. If this is speaking to you, I want you to join us. It's time to script your dreams into reality with the Manuscripting Journal, because you deserve to create and manifest a life that you're completely obsessed with. See show notes for details. Next thing that I want to talk about is to really, when you're going into starting this business and creating it. So now, okay, you have the plan, you have the vision, you have the way that you're going to learn, whether you're going to be self-taught, whether you're going to be guided and taught by somebody else. You've got the legal things out of the way. You're treating this like a big business. So now let's go into the day-to-day stuff. I do recommend like having goals set in place for how you are going to grow to this next phase of your business. So what are those things that you need to do every single day? With the manuscripting journal, when I first pivoted, because I came from online coaching, this was a big community shift. It was one of the reasons actually why I started a new Instagram account, to be honest, because I just felt so disconnected from my old community at this point. And I'm like, you know what? Whoever wants to come on over here and let's start fresh. I felt energetically that account was so old that I wanted to start new. But the one thing that you want to do when you want to start building a new community, and any coach will tell you this, is start an email list. And even now today, a text list, so that when you do finally launch that thing that you are selling, you have somebody to sell it to. Just posting about on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook is not enough. That's just one point of contact. And not everyone is going to see your posts all the time. So you need a more direct method in a ways of contacting them. So that is email and text message. And how do you get those people's emails and text messages? Well, you guys always see stuff that you opt into, which means you give your email and phone number to get something for free, right? We have all at one point, at least once, maybe once this week, given our name and email and phone number to somebody or a company or a brand in order to get something for free. Whether it's a discount code, whether it's a free download, a free PDF, like something, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So I do recommend, and it's never, ever too early to start. You don't need a fancy website to do this. There are plenty of platforms where you can just generate those things. I think when I first started, I used MailChimp. I'm sure there are so many more platforms today out there that are probably, I don't know if it's better or whatever. I haven't used MailChimp in years, like multiple years now at this point. That's what I started with because it was super cheap and inexpensive to do that. Today, my company and business is using Klaviyo, which is not cheap, but it is just a tool that communicates extremely well with all of the other systems that we have in place. So that's like more, I think, once you're like, not necessarily more serious, but it just totally depends. I mean, maybe in Klaviyo right now, if you're starting an e-commerce brand or any sort of brand, you may be interested in using that. But my point here is getting names, emails, and phone numbers from people is going to be a huge asset for you in order to sell, because you want the community now, or the people out there now, and they need to see your offer between, I think it's now like 11 to 19 times before you buy. A few years back, it was like between like 7 to 10. Now that number has increased significantly. Having that is a huge asset. So that way, think about like if you are on the manuscripting email list or if you're on the manuscripting text list, like that's why I text you. That's why I email you, because I want you to see this right now and take action on it, right? So you want to have that same effect on other people. You post about it on Instagram, you post about it on TikTok. So maybe they'll see it there. Maybe they'll see it there. Now they're seeing it in their email. Now they're seeing in their text messages, right? You're staying top of mind with your ideal customer. Don't know what I'm talking about? If you don't know how to set this up, I think that's the point where you're like, I need someone to teach me how to do this. And I need to go through a course, whether it's self-paced, self-taught, or go through it with a mentor, because they will teach you how to do this. And these are like the foundational life lessons of business that you need to know and understand. And outsourcing it to someone else, here's the thing, anything that I'm telling you today, and you're like, oh, I'll just hire someone to do that. Honestly, knowing every single part of the business is crucial. Because if there's a day that person quits or that person can't do it or whatever, or even when you say you hire someone and now they're not working out, so you want to hire someone else. You want to know a little bit, if not a lot of it. You don't have to understand it all to be able to like do it yourself, but at least understand the mechanics of that thing before you outsource it. It's a huge asset and knowledge for you to know how to do these things. Because one, you may surprise yourself. You may find that, oh my gosh, this is way easier than I thought. Why am I going to pay someone $2,000 when I could literally do this in 10 minutes, right? It's money saving to know how to do your own thing. And right off the bat, when you're first starting a business, right, you probably don't have a lot of money to spend on hiring people to do things for you. And I'm telling you, all the things that you need to do right now in order to start a business, you can do it yourself. Like if I could do it, you could totally do it. It takes a little bit of savviness, but that's okay. Like you will learn it. And this is the part of the growth of stepping into and being that CEO, that business owner that you need to be in order to run and scale a really large company. So it's all about that growth. Very, very, very important. The next thing is talking about marketing and branding. Unpopular opinion here. But going out and buying or hiring someone to do your branding colors and your fonts and a website and all these sorts of things, I think is a waste of money. And I will tell you why. As you grow and evolve your company, it's going to change and grow and evolve as well. Now, you want to stick with like a few foundational colors, right? And, thinking about those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, I think doing that later, once you've kind of already established yourself, and maybe once you're like, oh, this is growing to the skin, let's do a rebrand. Let's make it, spice it up. Let's really hone it in. But I don't think spending a ton of money on that stuff right off the bat is smart, because you are going to grow and evolve and change. You can do that on Canva. Like Canva is such a great resource as far as what colors look good together and all that sort of stuff. I would rather take that first step if you do have this money to spend. Once you have set up all the systems, as far as you have your free lead magnet and you can just like get people's names and emails and text messages and stuff like that, I would put that money into Facebook ads and marketing and just trying to learn that, which is a whole nother beast of its own. But that's where I would put my money behind ad dollars before I would go do a branding session with somebody. And that's because I have spent money on that before. And honestly, it was just like, to me, I regretted it, because I was like, well, this was kind of a waste. And I've done it a couple times over my coaching career, because I was like, this is what I need to do. I need to put money into a rebrand refresh. And I'm like, that was not necessary. The next couple ones are not necessarily action steps, but it's more on just the mindset for being an entrepreneur. You really need to stay resilient and persistent. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, is you're going to face challenges, right? But you need to just continue going, because they will consistently come up. Learn from your failures. Nothing in entrepreneurship is a failure unless you literally, the thing happens and you're like, I'm done, I quit. The second you say, I quit, and you leave and you go get a job or you go work for somebody else or what have you, you leave this, you can then call it a failure. But as you are on this journey, you're going to run into things that are going to happen that you may think are failures. They're not. Reframe it to lessons. That is the one thing that I really, really want to drill in, because I have seen too many people give up on their dreams that I know that they had really great potential for, because of one little thing or another, or they got scared, or they got kind of spooked and freaked out. They're like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. And that's their journey. Just knowing and understanding that it will happen, and it is so normal. And most people don't talk about their failures until they're super wildly successful. I don't talk about my failures while I'm in it. I can't. I'm dealing with the failure. I'm dealing with the growth. I'm dealing with the experience. I'm dealing with, okay, what do I need to change? What do I need to implement? I'm dealing with all that shit. And it's usually 6 months to a year before I share that failure, because that's how long it takes to really get through it sometimes. And again, it's not a failure, it's a lesson. And to have the mindset of being able to adapt and innovate. The reason I had you first kind of think about and draw out, okay, what does your business look like? What does it feel like? Like, what is it? What is this business plan, right? Nothing goes to plan most times, but having that vision is so important, because that's what's going to get you started and going. But as you are going, as you move through this awesome world of entrepreneurship, where you learn these different lessons and you come across different situations and obstacles, you have to be able to adapt and innovate. If you cannot adapt and innovate, which means changing the plan, changing the ideas, being open to new ideas, you probably will get left behind, because our world is constantly changing, right? Constantly changing, different trends, ways people shop, ways people invest, ways people do this and that and the other. And if you do not have that mindset of being okay with being open to other ways to build the company, to the way you have your products out there, the way you're coaching, all these different things, you will get left behind. So you really do have to have an open mind and not be stubborn about the way that you do it. That is really, really important. And then lastly, really just talking about the financial side of things. It takes time to make good money from this stuff. And again, this is where that consistency comes in, that persistence, really understanding that you're not going to be a millionaire overnight. I mean, you may be, and I wish that for you. But at the same time, like, let's be fucking realistic. And because I want you to be, this is tough. I want you to be delusional with, yes, you're going to build this massive company, but at the same time, be realistic with not setting these big, huge goals that at the same time deflate you and make you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to get there. Or I'm hustling my butt off because I have to get there, right? You got to watch your energy towards all of it. It is acting as if it's there, it's going to happen, you're aligned to it, but at the same time, you're not letting that make you feel like you can't achieve it. Really understanding that this will take time. And depending what type of company you're starting, for example, if you're in e-commerce, you are killing it if you have 30% margins. If you have a physical product, you are killing it if you have 30% margins. So think about that. Really study and learn the industry and business that you are starting, and look into what profit margins you should expect. I didn't realize that. I thought, okay, I'm literally bringing the same mentality from being in online business coaching, which is all digital. So the only expenses I had was whatever I had to pay for tech and being online, right? Like website costs, like whatever I was paying for email, camera gear, stuff like that, right? Like wasn't very much. So my profit margins were really, really high. Come over to e-commerce. Like I said, you're doing great if you have 30% profit margins, okay? Really understand what you're stepping into and know how much money it takes to get started. Being realistic with, okay, how much money do I need to set aside? How much money do I need for a website? How much money is that going to cost me every month? Can I do that? Can I hang with that? Do I need to invest in anything else? Am I going to be paying for a coach every single month? Do I need to buy some lighting or camera gear, like little things? And of course, in the beginning, you don't even need all that fancy stuff. You can literally just make sure you're shooting content with daylight. Like I still to this day, like usually prefer to shoot content with daylight than, fake lighting, because it just looks cleaner and it looks better. But really being realistic with your funds and what you can do, where you're allocating your money. And then once it starts coming in, bookkeeping right off the bat, whether it's through like using a program like QuickBooks or something like that, or even getting a bookkeeper, someone to do your books right off the bat. Don't worry about taxes and all that sort of stuff. Don't let that stuff freak you out. I think that holds so many people back. It's hilarious to me because everyone fears like, oh my God, what if I don't pay my taxes? Like, don't even worry about that stuff. That's all figure outable. And you're probably not going to be the one to do it. You're going to hire someone to do it for you. Don't worry about that. You first just need to start bringing that money in so then you can worry about your taxes later on. But really understanding the financial side of what things are going to cost you. Do you have the funds to do it? And realistically, what can you do with the money? And then when the money starts coming in, okay, how are you going to use it? Are you going to reinvest it back into your company? Are you saving it for something else? Are you using it to pay yourself? Like, what does that all look like? Is really, really important. And then once you get to a point where you're making lots of money, hire people to manage the money. Like I have a team of bookkeepers now that do all the books for manuscripting, but really understanding your money. Because again, if you're manifesting money, we have to understand the flow of it. We have to understand that it works and we have to pay attention to it, right? We don't want to just blindly, money in, money out. I don't care. I'm loosey goosey. Like, no, pay attention to it, right? Like we need to, like, that's the energy you want to put into it. Those were the biggest things as far as questions goes when it comes to just starting and launching a company. And at the end of the day, like it really just takes time. It takes time. But once you have the things in place, that's when you skyrocket. I say give yourself at least a year of being freaking consistent. Most people will not do that. Most people quit after a couple weeks. Most people don't survive past a couple months because they can't hack it. When you start a company and business that is in alignment with you and you're not just doing it for the money and you actually are excited about it, you're willing to show up every single day for it. And just making sure that you surround yourself with people that are rooting for you. If you have a partner that is constantly making fun of or dissing on you or whatever about this, oh, you're starting a little small business. How's that going for you? You're a millionaire yet? Like, what's that? Are you doing it? If you have someone like that, ooh, biggest advice I would give you is like, get out of that relationship. But no, really, that is hard. But also like you have to put your blinders on and just keep going and know that it will pay off. If I had quit within my first year of marriage gifting because we didn't hit 6 figures, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be sitting here today, but within like the next following year, I think we made about like 350,000 in revenue, something like that. And then the next following year, we'll be breaking multiple million. Just to give you an idea of how fast you could actually freaking grow when you actually build with intention, you stay committed to it, and you just keep going. I am sitting here no different than you. I am literally just a girl that had the idea, that had the download, that went for it, that stayed committed. I didn't give a shit what anyone else thought. And I just kept building. I just kept posting. I just kept creating. I just kept going. And all of a sudden, here we are. It's wild. And I'm just so grateful that, partially because it's like I wanted to do this so bad. I had the download to create the manuscripting journal and I wanted it to work because I didn't want to start another company again either. Like I just knew it deep down inside, like this was it. And even though the revenue didn't really show it in the beginning, it was just this knowing like I can figure this out. Like we'll dial it in. We're learning. We're figuring it out. Like it was so new to me. And now even today, like sure, we have lots of crazy shit happening in the business, right? Because I am still growing and evolving as a business owner, as a CEO. That part doesn't end. It doesn't end. You just keep growing. You just keep learning and you just keep implementing and you just keep changing. And it's really, really cool. Just because you don't make your first 6 figures in a year does not make you a failure. But if you don't make it past a year, you won't know what's on the other side of that either. Because the magic obviously happened for us was in year 2. And it happened again in year 3. And we are now on this rocket ship, which I'm so freaking excited about because of the lives that I'm literally able to change with this journal and all the women that are coming in with this journal. Like, I'm so freaking passionate about it. It's so exciting. Like, this is why we keep growing and scaling and going and going and going. That with my drive as a business owner to be able to step into this role and to be able to handle the space and this capacity for this growth is huge. I've had to go through so many changes of myself in order to become this woman, to be able to hold the space for it. Sam, 3 years ago, she couldn't hold that space. She had too much to learn and experience. It's why the money didn't come in from the revenue. And I understand that. So I hope you understand that yourself as well. And I am just so excited for you if you are starting a business, if you are in your first few years of entrepreneurship. I'm so excited for you to continue in moving in this direction, to follow your heart, your soul. You're mixing that feminine energy of that passion and that creativity, mix it with the masculine energy of the doing, of the action, of the learning. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to hire somebody to help you. I know a lot of us, we're so independent women. We love to do things ourselves and we're afraid to ask for help, but we think that by asking for help, we're a failure. Like, no. Asking for help, like investing in the coaching and hiring people and all these sorts of things, like they accelerate your growth. You're going to learn things at a faster capacity so then you can grow your business. I'm not sitting here telling you it's going to be fun and it's easy. In fact, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you might be like, well, shoot, I don't know if I want to start that business anymore. This cushy corporate job sounds really good. I just want to tell you, like, you have a purpose on this planet, and I'm sure the purpose isn't to maybe be in that job that you're currently in. It could be. It could be. You may be out there saving lives and doing all these sorts of things and impacting the world in a positive way. But if you have that urgent desire to start something of your own, try it. But try it properly. That is all I ask. If you have any additional questions of starting entrepreneurship and starting a business and growing in this space, in this world, please send me a DM on Instagram, whether it's the Money Mindset Manicures podcast, or you can even DM me personally at I am Samantha Kazuch. I could potentially be doing a part 2 of this. And I am so excited to connect with you and to see your businesses grow and expand. I would love to hear what you are launching, or if you already have a business, what that business is that you are growing. Let me know if you found any of these tips helpful, and I will see you in the next episode. And if you haven't done so already, I would love if you left me a review. Every review really helps this podcast grow so more women can experience the magic that happens in here. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.